Hello everyone and welcome back. My name's X, and so I know we already did a top 10 feature request video for the Master Chief Collection, which I threw 5 more in there at the end. I know 1 was a bonus and 4 were honorable mentions, so technically 15 in total. And it is clear though that we are seeing that 343 Industries is listening to the community on this, at least because we got 3 updates not long after I made that video that they announced that were going to be happening in the future or very recently, which did end up happening, which were the 343 announced that officially that Infection would come back, and it did right in the Halloween period, which was perfect timing for it. The MCC will be getting a custom game browser, which is very great, not just only for my channel, which is a good thing, but also I enjoy playing custom games, and it's going to be a lot easier to find custom games, hopefully for all the good stuff and not all those other really dumb things that Halo 5 has, like stupid clans and social things. Like, hopefully we actually see the original custom games that we enjoyed playing come back, and that'll be a lot of fun. And also we will be getting a matchmaking preferences, which by the way was the biggest thing for me. Like, it just totally blew my mind they were gonna do that. Like, wait, what's this thing called? This new feature that they called the matchmaking composer, and then when they actually described it and how it's going to be coming into the little test phase thing, I forgot what they call that Halo Insider, and they actually described what it was, where you can actually select the game modes and you can select the time periods, so you can select Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo CE, you know, all those things. You can actually select the exact game modes and games with each other. This is huge. This is the thing that's going to solve a big chunk of all those pointless custom games I said were taking up so much space. This is exactly what we needed. I would actually gone a little bit further and be able to choose the maps that you want as well, but this is pretty big because that's going to mean that there's going to be but it's going to be very little reason why people are going to be quitting games, because a lot of times they quit because they get the maps and the Halo games that they don't like, and that's why we're having all those different playlists, which is really stupid. So this looks very promising to be able to choose the game modes you want to play, and if this is done correctly, we will be seeing a drastic reduction of number of people quitting, because this here is going to satisfy a lot of what the people wanted to have for them to choose which games they want to play. And it's going to be tested in the Insider Programmer first before it goes out, so if anyone wants to jump in and test that, that'd be great. Make sure it gets all perfect before they go to the official game in an update. But there is actually one feature I actually forgot about that really should actually come to the Halo MCC. One thing that I learned myself when making the Halo Custom Archive for the very first video, I forgot something that actually was something that originally existed in Halo 2. Not many people knew this. Even I myself, who played a lot of this certain game mode, did not know this. And actually I think this would be a really cool thing if 343 could bring this in, because it's actually something that really actually existed in the original Halo 2. And I think it would be a huge improvement to add to the Halo MCC, and that is something that Halo fans would really love to have. And so I forgot to add this in the poll, so I'm making a separate video for this. So it's not going to be a really long one necessarily, but I just wanted to add this in here. So this video will be relatively short and when it comes down to it, but I think all you guys will actually like the idea of this. It is very educational when I found out about this, because I didn't know about this and other people found it really interesting as well. It just was really interesting, because usually I'm like the guy that everyone knows everything about custom games, and this was something I never really knew. But that was the official Zombies custom game mode. It actually, even though it started as a fan thing in Halo 2, Bungie didn't actually wait till Halo 3 to make zombies a thing. They actually came out in Demo Disc 45 of the Xbox official magazine and made it a real thing. You could actually download this game mode and actually play it for real. You didn't have to change teams, it automatically changed for you. And this was actually pretty cool. Unfortunately, not many people knew about this. So besides having things like the Halo 2 anniversary weapon skins added to the multiplayer, like Forge and custom games, which would be a purely aesthetic thing that wouldn't affect the gameplay at all. And also having the Halo 2 death screen from the classic and also possibly add into the anniversary of both multiplayers would be really cool. I know it's in the campaign when your Spartan dies, but actually I've not actually heard it at all in the multiplayer, which in the original classic way it was in there as well, but I have yet to hear that in there. So maybe either it's missing or just not that rare of an occurrence, but both those are aesthetic things that people would actually like. But I think the thing a lot of fans would really just die for the MCC is to have the Halo 2 Classic Zombie Infection game type that Bungie actually built. I find that just very interesting that this was actually a actual thing and not just something that came on later on in Halo 3. This was an actual DLC with a disc that you could actually play, and there was no auto rolls, which that's just, you know, again, crazy for me that I didn't even know about this. Apparently it wasn't a huge thing that many people knew about, that it automatically changed people from red team to green team, and it was an actual working game type. And this would be actually really interesting for people to have that in there, because that would actually add another game to Infection to play in the multiplayer. Again, that is very interesting. A lot of people say that this is not possible to do and try to say stuff like that, but let this sink in that the people doing the Project Cartographer, which is to keep the game, the Halo 2 Vista, still online after the servers went down. Still with no answer from 343 on that, but they got the servers back up. They actually added that in. Something that was a DLC for Halo 2 on the Xbox actually was put onto the Project Cartographer. So for that to work and that to be on there is really cool to hear. I actually tried this out myself, as you can see from the gameplay footage, so it's actually a real thing. It's interesting to show because it really did make it understand that Bungie, when it came to a firefight, when it came to Infection, even though there were a lot of haters back in the day, like I did in my other video proving that there was just as much hate as there is today for Battle Royale as there was for Infection and Firefight, Bungie knew to realize to ignore the haters, ignore what they have to say, because they had nothing to contribute, no actual valid arguments, and they went ahead and saw what really people wanted to see. So it's actual proof here that this was something that was really loved back in the day, and they actually did ignore the haters to make this a thing. If 343 Industries could add this content to the game, this would drastically improve the Infection for multiplayer. To play the original Halo 2 zombies back in the day would be huge. Not to mention it would add an additional game mode to have along with the Halo 3, Halo 4, and Halo 2 Anniversary, which, by the way, I only like one of those, and that's Halo 2 Anniversary. And all those Halo 2 Classic maps can be now played on, and just imagine playing Infection on Foundation or Backwash. This would go over well with the Halo community, adding some of those custom game maps, or not custom, but the official maps from the Halo 2 Classic that people actually like to play the Infection mode on back in the day for zombies. For those doubting that this can be done, again, remember, a PC version of Halo 2 Vista that's a mod to keep Halo 2 online. Someone actually was able to add this in back in 2015 and 2016 when when the servers went down. They got modders to make Project Cartographer that actually brought the game mode back online, and it is still to this day you can play Infection. So the fact that they were able to get something that was, again, content that was only for the Xbox added to the actual Vista would actually, to do all that, clearly is something impressive in my opinion, what they could do. And they even made it so that once you get infected, not only do you go to the green team, but you actually become an elite, which then they said that was just temporary, and that they will eventually be replacing that with actual flood models, which I can only assume that means that Spartans will turn into human flood combat forms, and elites will turn into elite combat forms, flood combat forms. And I can even just, or they could just make it random flood characters each time you spawn as infected. Either way, whichever they go with for doing so will still be a cool thing. I'm not expecting 343 to invest so much dedicated time to add that in, as there as just like, you know, they're just models and they would have to add in the animation and all that stuff, and I don't really know how all that will end up working with the engine part of it for Halo 2. But for the most part, if they could just at least add the Halo 2 classic game type to the multiplayer, they would have a lot of happy fans, including old timers like myself, who would be very pleased, and would definitely be an improvement in opinions for how 343 is doing with the MCC, as this is another good thing that they could add to the game. If they could add this feature in with the ones listed in my other video as well, with the top most requested features in Halo MCC, they would have finally, in my opinion, have a complete Halo MCC. They would not have to need to add another thing to that game if they added both this and that other video of the top most requested. If they did both those, there's nothing else I could really expect for the MCC, and I would be perfectly satisfied with that game entirely. Anyways, that's going to wrap it up for this video. I would highly recommend sharing this video and maybe show it to others, or also the top requested feature video, send that around as well, and maybe it gets the attention of 343 Industries and sees what fans really want. And we can only hope that 343 gets this and hears out the community and wants and hopefully we can get those additions added to the game. If all those features could be added to the Halo MCC, I'd call that a complete game again. It's basically completely finished in my opinion. That's everything you could ever add to the game in my opinion, and it'd be great. This is nothing more to the game that you could really add in my opinion. You can go ahead and, you know, post something in the comments and tell me if I'm wrong, if there's something else that they could add in the game. But other than that, I would be absolutely perfectly happy with the top 10 with the bonus, maybe some of the honorable mentions, and the Halo 2 Classic Zombie Infection DLC. If they could actually do all that, I would say Halo MCC is perfect at that point. There's nothing you could add to that game and not be satisfied with. So I'm very enthusiastic in hopes that the devs might grant our requests here for such things. For now, all we can do is just wait and see. Anyways, you guys, that's gonna wrap it up here. I know it's still a 10-minute video here, but usually my videos are usually between 20 to 30 minutes long, so not as short as what you would probably expect, but still a short video. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up. You all have a great day and take care. See you later in the next video. Bye.